Hi everyone, welcome back to Bumble Stitches episode 8. My name's Nicola. It's Sunday the 5th of February today and I'm coming to you from my home in Ipswich in Suffolk in the UK. Thank you ever so much for coming back if you're a returning viewer. And I must just say, wow, so many new subscribers this week. It's been absolutely brilliant. So all of you that are seeing me for the first or maybe second time, welcome to the podcast. I hope you enjoy everything that you see. And thank you ever so much for subscribing and checking me out. I must admit, I was a little bit surprised. I'd had around about 30 subscribers for the duration that the podcast has been running. And suddenly there was a huge leap in subscriber numbers and I couldn't really figure out why that had happened. Obviously I was delighted because it means I'm not talking to myself, but I was a little bit intrigued. So I did a little bit of investigative work and realised that the lovely Denise of the Knitting Den podcast had been watching the podcast here and she mentioned it on her podcast. So lots of you lovely ladies from across the pond in the US have been checking me out. So a big welcome to all you guys. I really hope you enjoy what you're seeing and thank you ever so much for, just for checking me out and spending some time. Okay, I will just start off by letting you know a little bit of admin, housekeeping, admin. We now have a Ravelry group. I decided to start one up now that the podcast has grown in subscriber numbers. I thought it'd be a good place to pop all the details of things I've discussed whilst I'm talking to you. So the Ravelry group is called Bumble Stitches Podcast. So you can find it under the groups tab if you search there. There's already some lovely ladies have signed up. There's only a couple of threads at the moment. One is just for you to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about you and what you're up to and where you're from and so on. So there's quite a few lovely ladies who already done that and joined in, which is fab. And also there's another thread started for just to tell us what you're working on at the moment, just like a works in progress thread. So share what you're doing, pop photos in if you've got them. It's really nice to see what you're all up to. And yeah, we can just all cheer each other along with our projects. So please go and check that out on Ravelry. As I mentioned, I will start a thread each week with notes from the podcast. I'm not going to do that retrospectively. So the next thread that will be in there will be for this episode, which is episode 8. I always pop it on the little light board here behind me, just to mainly to remind me what we're up to. So I'll pop in there links to shops where I've bought stuff, patterns that I'm working on, any useful information that will save you guys having to hunt around for it, or if you haven't heard what I've said or you don't want to keep rewinding and so on. So be a nice source of information and also, more importantly, a place for us all to gather, and just get to know each other a little bit better. So I think that's all the housekeeping out of the way. Now, I don't have any finished objects this week, I'm afraid. It's a bit of a fail on that part. I've been way too busy casting on new things, to the point where, for me, I have quite a lot of WIPs, works in progress. Yes, I just couldn't stop myself. I just had a few things on the needles and there were a couple of knit-alongs that I wanted to take part in, so I cast those on. There's a mystery knit-along that I've casted on as well, but I'll tell you a bit more about that when we get to that point. And also yesterday I spotted one of my favourite designers at the moment, which is Parisa Landluft. She's the designer behind the Speckled shawl that I'm knitting. She asked for put a call out for test knitters on Instagram, and I really didn't need to be doing that because I have got so much going on at the moment. But it was such a pretty project. I had the perfect yarn, so I just signed up and worry about that later. So it's quite a tight deadline. It's actually the 24th of February, so I really need to get my needles flying on that one. But the yarn's all caked up and ready. I'll show you the yarn that I'm using. Obviously I can't share the details of the pattern with you because it is a test knit, but I think it kind of, I'm one that quite likes working to a deadline, and if I know I have to get something done, it really spurs me on. Otherwise I can get a little bit lackadaisical and pop stuff down and get distracted. I think that's probably the best word. I'm very easily distracted. There's a couple of new pretty things that I've bought this week that have arrived, which has been lovely. So shall we crack on with the works in progress? Right, the first one, you've seen this little bag before, a big bag. Really do need a sweater size project bag. Perhaps when I've got a bit more time I'll get the sewing machine out and get cracking on that. Now this is my Wainthrop cardigan. It's an Andy Satterland pattern, and I'm knitting this as part of Katie at Inside Number 23 is running a knit along called the Andy Satterlong. So I'm just trying to untangle it because it's a little bit... I'd only just cast this on the last podcast, and you can see now, I think the light's playing up a little bit on the camera, but hopefully you can see that we have got the beginnings of a cardigan. So this is the back. This project is mostly sponsored by Stitch Markers, as you can see at the bottom. I cannot do even simple lace without lots of stitch markers. So I've got some sort of hangy, herdy sheep ones on that side, and just my favourite little ring style on that one. Really good pattern construction of this. The garment construction is fab. I just started out knitting the back, the top of the back, and then pick up the fronts, the cardigan fronts. You can see that's where the stitches were picked up. It gives you quite a nice, almost invisible join, so there's no seaming there. So both left and right fronts are joined on, and then eventually the sleeves will be picked up from here. So I'm really pleased with the progress on this. It is a worsted yarn, so it knits up really quickly. I'm pleased with the colour, pleased with the pattern so far, so this is a bit of a win. The yarn that I'm using is the yarn that the pattern calls for, which is the Rowan pure wool worsted. Comes in 100-gram balls. I've not bothered to cake it because it just pulls quite nicely from the centre anyway. And I believe it is, well, it doesn't say it's superwash, it just says 100% wool, but it does have the washing machine symbol on here, 40 degrees. I'll probably wash it cooler and probably wash it by hand anyway. And this is being knit on 4.5mm needles. I'm using my higher sharps. Or they might just be hires, but they're pointy enough to deal with the lace sections, because obviously there's sort of like yarn overs and knit two togethers and slip knits and that kind of thing going on. But you can see it's a really nice pattern. I'm really enjoying knitting it. I think it's that's a really nice colour representation there, because it has got quite a lot of little sort of purpley flecks within the blue. This was just called light navy on the, I think it was Love Knitting site that I bought it from. And its colour number is, I think, I can't even read it on that tag. I'll see if I can find it on the other one for you. Shade 167. So, yeah, that's the yarn. So I'm very pleased with how that's coming along. The deadline for the knit along, I think, is the end of March. So, I'm hopeful to get it completed by then, and I'm really hopeful that I get it completed before I go away on the retreat that I'm really looking forward to, which is the country house retreat run by Helen of Curious Handmade. So that's on the 6th of March, so just over a month away. So I'm really super excited about that. So if I can get my new cardi done, that will be a win-win. This is the that's the cardi, just to refresh your memories. I did show it before. It's a waist length long sleeve, nice for wearing with dresses. And I might have a bigger picture here. There's quite a lot of pattern pages. I was quite daunted when I first started doing this because it has got an awful lot of information on here, but I kept telling myself, if you just break it down, do one section at a time, and it will be fine. And it is so well written that, yeah, it does seem to be the case. So there you can see the images of the cardi there. Really pretty. Actually, just thought, I haven't even got any buttons for this yet, so I need to get some buttons sorted out, whether or not I go for a contrast like they've used here, or possibly try and match the blue. That might be a bit difficult if I'm buying online, so I might just go for a contrast, maybe like a little wooden button or something like that. Yeah, so super cute. I would, this is the only Andy Satterlin pattern that I've knitted so far, but yeah, I would give it a thumbs up already and say it is so well written, even if you're not a super experienced knitter, which I'm not. I have knitted for a long time, but you know, really pushing my comfort zones more recently. So, but even so, it's well written enough not to cause any major problems. So yeah, that's my first WIP. What's next? This little bag that I got from oh, I can't remember the lady's name. It was on Etsy, and I know she's local, just up the road in Essex. Her name's Rachel, but I can't remember the name of her Etsy shop. So I will pop it in the show notes in the Ravelry group. So that's a good reason for having that group. And this is my Speckled shawl. I was just talking about Parisa Landloft and the test knit that I'm doing, and this is the other pattern of hers that I'm doing. You've seen it before. First couple of projects you have seen before, so if I'm, you know, repeating myself, apologies for that. So that's the pattern there, Speckled. And it's one of the reasons why I was quite eager to do the test knit for her, because I'm loving this pattern and I'm just really keen to do another of hers. So far we have, let's get it the right way. Obviously it's a bit crumpled on the needles, but it's growing, and you can see the increases rather, that form a V sort of down the centre of the project. And if you can pick those up on the camera, that's better, you can see them there. And they're done by make one left and make one right as you come to the centre part of the shawl. So we're almost done with this part of the pattern now. There's not much more to go before I go to the border section. And this is the beautiful La Bien-Aimée yarn, which is hand-dyed yarn from Paris. Unfortunately I didn't go to Paris to get it, I was in London. But the shop in the UK that seems to have good supply of that yarn is a Yarn Story, who are based in Bath in the West Country. That's the tag for that, La Bien-Aimée. Really cute little logo, love that. Colourway is Romance, it's merino singles, 100% merino, so that's that yarn. And it's going to be teamed up, the border is going to be this beautiful Dobby colourway. Obviously you will know Dobby, he's the house elf in Harry Potter. And it has got some sort of almost little pinky undertones among the grey, so I think it's going to sit really nicely with that Romance colourway. And that is from the ever talented Tracy at Nora George Yarns. This is one of her older style tags. You can see that's the Dobby colourway, and that is 75/25 merino and nylon sock weight yarn. So yeah, that's been plodding along, that project. It's nice and easy. It doesn't have any sort of counting as such. Just all you have to count is just the little section in between the stitch markers in the middle for your centre increase section. So hoping to get that one off the needles quite soon. Obviously after I've done the test knit, I need to make that my priority. Now that I've committed, I'm sure I can do it. Okay, so next work in progress, just checking on my notes. It's another knit along, and this is housed in my pretty loop and bar project bag from Etsy from Kate. I think Denise was talking about Kate quite a bit in her last podcast and doing some Welsh pronunciation, which is very brave of you, Denise. This is a knit along that's been organised by Julie of Suffolk Socks. So she's local to me here in Ipswich, and I'm just doing some vanilla latte socks because I wanted, the yarn is so pretty. I did show you this on the podcast before. This is her hand dyed yarn, which is called Blooming Marvellous. Here it is all skeined up. And you can see the colours in this are really pretty. It's got that soft pinky lavender base with shades of really soft primrose yellow, greens, blues, stronger pinks, almost aqua shades in there too. Such a pretty yarn. I didn't want to do anything, a pattern that was too busy to detract from the prettiness of this yarn, so that's why I went for the vanilla latte. I'm knitting it on higher sharps, 2.25 circulars on magic loop, and I thought I would team it with this little mini skein. I don't know if the camera will pick up it's on a stellina base, so there is some sparkle going on in there. Might just twinkle a little tiny bit if we're lucky. And I'm going to do the heels and toes in that yarn because I thought it would sit really prettily alongside that Blooming Marvellous yarn. So that's something, yeah, nice and sort of springy and fresh, delicate colours. I'm knitting those for myself, so my pattern is a little bit crumpled. It's been very well used. It's the Vanilla Latte socks. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I've knitted a couple of pairs of these now, and they fit really, really well. It's because of the sort of the rib style of them. They seem to hug your feet in all the right places and feel really comfortable. So, yeah. Okay, I did say quite a lot of WIPs, so we're still working through the WIPs. The next one is also a knit along, and this is living in my really cute little bumblebee bag that I bought from, oh, I'm trying to think of the lady's name, goodness, my mind's gone blank. Betsy Makes, Sam, yeah, her name's Sam. She's got a podcast, which is Betsy Makes, and she's got an Etsy shop as well, so check her out on both of those. Again, I can pop all this in the show notes for you, but just have to share the cuteness of this little cross-stitched bee and all the little bees on the honeycomb made out of hexies that I think she's hand sewn. So it's absolutely beautiful. My daughter's Lulu has always got her eye on this bag. Do you still need that bag, Mum? Are you sure you need it? Yes, I do need it. Anyway, on to the WIP. This is, as I mentioned, another knit along. These are the Love Along socks, and anyone that watches podcasts will recognise that as Danny's cutester bobbin. I'm assuming that's Danny's legs, and the Love Along socks. You can't see very clearly from the picture, I think, because the yarn's quite pale. I'll see if it's a paid for pattern, so I don't want to give too much away. If I can just try and show you a little close-up of how the pattern forms. There we go. So you can see it's just a little eyelet sort of flower detail, really. Really simple, pretty, delicate, very understated. It's a really nice pattern. I'm knitting, I'll show you how I've progressed so far. Now, the pattern is by Amy Meeks, I believe, and I think she's one half of the Periscoping Sisters. Yes, Amy Meeks. And the knit along's being run on her podcast and Ravelry group, and also on Danny's. So you can check that out. I've not made heaps of progress on these, but you can see the pattern starting to form there. And I've done it on my little circulars too, which I don't mind knitting. I know lots of people find them a little bit of a problem, hurt your hands and so on, but I did actually learn to knit socks on tiny circulars, so yeah, it's not a problem for me at all. And this yarn, which I'll show you, the skein, I don't know if the camera's picking up the little tiny flecks of very soft green in there. You'll probably see more that way. Little tiny greeny blue specks on a otherwise natural base, which I thought lent itself really well to the design. And it's yarn from the Wool Barn. That's their tag. and it's the luxury sock base, which is 4-ply, fingering weight, colourway is Lily, and it's 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. And it's so soft and beautiful to knit with. So these might be for Mum. I was going to knit them for Lulu, but she's got 3 pairs of hand knit socks in the drawer that she doesn't wear, so I think I'll do these for Mum. But really, really pretty pattern. Knitting up really well now, quite simple. I cast these on quite late one evening and couldn't get the pattern to sit in the right place. It's just a really rookie error. I just hadn't counted the right amount of knit stitches before I started the pattern. But they're fine now. So I think it's a 16 row repeat. So I'll do another repeat, and then I think it recommends you go to the heel. So it's like a little shorty sock. Pop them back on the bag. My circulars, I know lots of people, they say 9-inch circulars normally, don't they, for the mini ones? But these are the ones that I've used from the beginning of my sock knitting, and you can see they are 2.5mm, they're actually 12 inches, and they've got a very slight, let me just get them back out again, I just sort it out. It's all got caught up now. And if you can see there, the needles are actually sort of angled to sort of like gently curve round, which I think it makes it quite comfortable to knit with because they're already sitting, they already want to go in that position, ready to knit. So those are higher sharps. And then when I get to doing the heel and the toes, obviously once it gets too small to sit on that circular, you need to go down to magic loop or DPNs, and I've just got a little handy set of higher sharps in the 2.5 DPNs. It's not my favourite knitting on DPNs, but you do need to do it sometimes, I guess. I should just practice a bit more. I know lots of ladies do all their socks on DPNs, so I just need to get, I always feel like I'm knitting like wrestling a hedgehog or something when I'm doing that. But yes, so that's another work in progress. I'm travelling this week through work. I'm travelling up to Glasgow for a week and flying. So I think this might be the project that I pop in my bag while I'm travelling, because I don't think I'll have too many problems with these tiny needles and airport security and so on. So they'll probably be my project that I just carry with me. And then I need to decide what I'm going to pop in my suitcase to knit while I'm up there. So I've got four nights on my own in Glasgow. So I'll have lots of time to do knitting. Excuse me. So yeah, I think I'll probably take my test knit up and hi, sorry about that. I had a bit of a tickle in my throat and couldn't stop coughing for a moment, so I think I'm okay now. Yeah, I was just saying I'll probably take the test knit up to on my trip with me so that I can give that plenty of attention and get that done in time for the deadline, and maybe another project just in case, because you know what it's like. I'm not a completely monogamous knitter. I know I've got lots of whipped on the needles at the moment, but normally I don't have so many, but I do like to have something just to switch between, you know, just to mix things up a bit and make things a little bit more interesting. You don't always feel the project that you're supposed to be knitting on, do you? And you want to just try something else. Okay, moving on to, now you guys helped me out last time. I showed you some yarns that I was thinking of using for the snow melt knit along, which is Helen Stewart's Mystery Knit Along, which has actually already started. The first clue came out on Thursday. And I started it and I wasn't really feeling it. The pattern, the first clue, looks amazing. Very, very well written as usual from Helen. She has a way of writing her patterns, if you're not familiar with them, where she gives details of every single row, and there's a percentage checklist. She tells you how many stitches you should have, which is great, and she gives you a percentage checklist, so you know at any one point in the pattern how much of the project you've completed, which is good. And it's that kind of spurring you on thing as well, when you know sort of how far along you are. Now I had chosen with your help, because there were lots of comments, so I received lots of messages. I've chosen these 3 yarns, which are from Hedgerow Yarns. The bottom 2 are got silk in them, got a silk blend, and the top one is more of a sort of tweedy, got that, I think they call it a nep in the yarn, and that's a one of a kind colourway, with these ones being graphite and chartreuse. But I wasn't really feeling it for that project, which is a shame because they are beautiful yarns and they go so well together. So what I'm doing with these now is, this is for my test knit for Paris and Landluft, and yeah, so far I think it's going to be perfect for that, more so than it was for the snow melt mystery knit along. So I won't show you the project, I can't show you the pattern, but it is beautiful. 3 colours, as you can see, work well together. The design of the shawl couldn't be more perfect for them. So I feel happy now that this is, yeah, it was meant to be. That's all living in my Mrs. Brown's bag. Just trying to get those skeins back in. It's a nice roomy one, plenty of room for a 3 skein project. You're probably all familiar with Mrs. Brown's bag. She's Jodie of the Grocery Girls podcast. She makes beautiful bags. She's got an Etsy shop which is just called Mrs. Brown's Bags. Yeah, and this pattern is beautiful. I originally saw it on my friend Sarah of a Dorky Emu podcast. She had a bag like this. I think hers has got a red base on it, and thought, what an amazing fabric, this sort of tattoo style. So yeah, I grabbed one from Jodie's Etsy shop, and I love it. It's perfect size, plenty roomy, nice and squishy. It will fit nicely on my suitcase for all that extra knitting that I'm going to be doing. Yeah, so just drop the project on the floor, let's rescue that. So that's another work in progress. And so what's happening with the snow melt knit along? Obviously I've switched yarns, and that moves me on nicely to acquisitions. Had a couple of deliveries this week. Nothing, you know, I've not gone mad, just had a little couple of treats. And one was from a lovely lady called Polly, and she has very recently started dyeing yarn, and she had her very first Etsy shop update last weekend. I think it was on Sunday evening, and I picked up these 2 skeins of yarn from her, and they are absolutely gorgeous. So I'll start off with this one. The update was all, or mostly I think, Harry Potter themed yarns. This one is Nymphadora Tonks, and I love Polly's tags. They're really, really cool, the way she's done that with that sort of like splattered pattern. But look at the colours. It's mulberry, it's very light browns, darker brown, going into deeper shades of purple, a few lighter flashes here. It's absolutely scrumptious. It reminds me of Turkish Delight. I know it's a bit darker than Turkish Delight, but it has that sort of feel to it. It's like almost looks good enough to eat. This yarn is a 4-ply sock weight, and it is 75/25 merino and nylon, 100 grams. And Polly's store is on Etsy, and it's called Paper Stories UK. I'll put it all in the show notes in the Ravelry group. I love saying that we've got a Ravelry group now. So I'll pop that in there. And I believe, I did mention today, Sunday the 5th of February, I believe she's having another update tonight on her Etsy store. And she's also started a podcast. She started that yesterday, and I checked it out. It's also called Paper Stories UK on YouTube. So check that out. She's a lovely lady. She's super talented. She's, as I said, she's recently started dyeing yarn. She does paper craft. She does wooden items, all sorts of beautiful things. So do check her store out, check her podcast out, give her some love. Yeah, so beautiful, beautiful yarn. And to go with Nymphadora Tonks, we have Gilderoy Lockhart, and it's just like him, isn't it? It's just fantastic. It's out there, it's It's got all the exuberance of the character. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it. And the two together, I think, are absolutely divine. They really, really match well. So that leads me back to the snow melt mystery knit along. Now I do realise I'm a little bit behind now because the clue came out on Thursday and it is a weekly clue and I've got the test knit and all the other WIPs. So, but I had this skein of Rowan fine art in my stash. This was originally one of the contenders for the snow melt as well. But I think now, with these three together, and I think it goes light to dark, I think we really have a winner now. I feel really, really happy about the combination, about the yarns, the way they look together, the way the colours blend. They're all the same yarn type. I think what was bothering me with the other combination was the fact that two were silky and one was not. I was having a little bit of a fretful time with it. But these are absolutely gorgeous. And as soon as I finish chatting with you all, I shall be caking these up. So they are ready to go as soon as I've got... oh, excuse me, that cough again. I think it must be fibres from the yarn, inhaling too much yarny goodness. So yes, these will now be my snow melt. And they are going to be living in my beautiful, beautiful Bumblebee project bag, which is from Marie Celeste Stitches on Etsy, from the lovely Willemijn in the Netherlands. I know she watches and she's joined the Ravelry group. So, and her bags are beautiful. Again, I'll put notes in the show notes for you of where to find her. Do check her out. Her work is exceptional. Everything she does is beautiful. The finish on this bag is absolutely stunning. And she's got some beautiful bags in the shop at the moment. I'm desperately trying not to buy one. There's one that's got, it's all patterned and it's little children catching fireflies and putting them in jars on a very dark blue background. It's absolutely stunning. So someone please save me from myself and buy that bag. Because if it's still there tonight, I think I might have to buy it. So do check her out. And yep, snowmail shawl, sorry, good to go. Okay, I think I have finally covered all the WIPs and so on. I did just want to share with you something else from Paper Stories, a couple of other bits and pieces. I got this really cute little sheep pin as well when I placed my order, which is going to live on one of my project bags. See, I told you, Polly's super talented. She has lots of lovely things in her shop. So he's super cute. And she also really, really kindly and generously sent a couple of extras with my order. One of which was these really cute progress keepers. And this one's got the little honeycomb and the bumblebee. So she knows me well. And a little skein of yarn. So thank you, Polly, for those. That was really kind of you. And I just got to pop down because I've dropped the other thing on the floor. Back again. I don't know if you heard my chair squeak. That was a bit embarrassing, wasn't it? She sent along these mini skeins. It's a beautiful sort of honey, yellowy coloured mixed one there. This one's more like a denim-y blue, bluey grey with the lighter grey flecks there. And a lovely fresh green. It's also got some little pink splashes in as well. And these are all on a nice stellina base. And there's a little progress keeper as well, with a skein of yarn and her lovely tag. I do like it when minis are all sort of clustered together. I think they look lovely, really enticing. And Polly's given these to us, to the podcast, for a giveaway. So keep your eyes peeled. Hopefully, I do have something in the planning that I'm hoping to do along with Sarah from A Dorky Emu. We're hoping to collaborate on something. So keep your eyes peeled or listen out in the next episode and hopefully we'll have some news. So this will go towards prizes for something coming up soon. So thank you, Polly, that's really, really kind of you, and I wish you so much luck with your new yarn dyeing ventures. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Oh, I'm back again after that cough. It's really driving me mad now. Yeah, so good luck, Polly, with everything you're doing. You are just so amazingly talented and such a lovely person. So yeah, good luck. Okay, one last little thing that did come through the post was this gorgeous little progress keeper. If you can see, it's a little tiny, I'll try and show you. It's a little tiny cup of hot cocoa that I got from Thimble and Thread Make. I believe the lady's name's Tracy. She's also got a podcast by the same name, and her shop is on Etsy. And this came in this most beautiful packaging in this little bag with the tag on. Absolutely stunning. I think they're made out of the modelling clay that you fire in the oven. So it's really, really light. So I'm going to pop that on my test knit just to chart my progress and spur me along. But super, super pretty. So yeah, that was another little acquisition. I've been eyeing up the Sucra miniature charms as well, so I can feel a purchase of those coming on. But yeah, and I really like to support the British girls that are doing stuff. So yeah, check out Tracy's, I do think it's Tracy, her Etsy store, because she dyes yarn and she makes project bags. Does she dye yarn? She definitely makes project bags. She makes progress keepers. Yeah, again, beautiful work, beautifully packaged. You know, that's why I love getting things off Etsy. It's just like getting little prezzies, isn't it? So I think that's probably everything for this week. I'm hoping to get lots and lots of knitting done whilst I'm away, and hopefully have something finished to show you next week and to share on the podcast. Could possibly be a couple of purchases, who knows. Well, I'm trying to be good at the moment, but I'm not very good at being good. And yes, I will update the show notes, as I've mentioned several times. I'm so excited about our new Ravelry group. Do go along and join. It'd be lovely to see you. Thank you for watching the podcast. It's just blown me away how many people have subscribed this week, and really spurred me on to try and make it as good for you guys, so you get as much enjoyment out of it as I do, because it's one of the highlights of my week. So I will leave it there. Have a lovely week doing whatever you're doing, knitting, relaxing, watching podcasts, and I will see you all again soon. Bye.